Yeah. All right. So just connecting to your space now on the mat. Maybe closing the eyes or a soft gaze at the tip of the nose. And then we begin just to do a quick body scan to see how we're feeling today. Starting at the crown of the head, moving down to the forehead, the eyebrows, eyelids, cheek, and nose. Softening and relaxing. Bringing the attention to our mouth, the lips, the chin, and then we draw back up to the ears and pause. What sounds do you hear? Could be the running of an air conditioner, the chirping of a bird. And then bring your attention to the back of the head. Unless it's rested on a bolster or the ground, and then down our neck and into our shoulders. Anywhere that's supported by the ground or bolster, just realizing that it's comfortable and gravity is doing its job. We work our way down our shoulders into our biceps and our triceps, our elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers, softening, relaxing. Bringing the attention to the top of our chest, around our throat area, and working our way down to the mid chest, into the belly, relaxing. Moving down into our hips, the glutes, the thighs and hamstrings, the knees, shins, calf muscles, Achilles and ankles, the feet and the toes. Any area that's a little bit tricky tonight, make sure you send a little extra love its way. And then, as we know with yoga, it's not just about the body or the mind, it's the connection with the breath. So just breathing normally at this point, not changing anything, but just observing. And then we begin to deepen that breath, inhaling through the nose and breathing into that lower belly so it blows up like a balloon. And then exhaling, bringing that navel towards the spine, emptying the lung. And inhale, the belly blows up. Exhale, working through a few of these at your own pace. One more belly breath here. And then as you exhale, we're going to continue into that deep belly breath, but we're going to count it out. We're going to try to make our exhales longer than our inhales. So we're going to inhale for the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 6. So whenever you're ready, you can empty the lungs and breathe into that lower belly for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more round of this. And once you finish that last exhale, just returning back to your normal breath. Noticing if anything slowed down or you feel relaxed, or if it sped things up and made you anxious. As you begin to flutter the eyes open, maybe rotating the neck from side to side here. Whatever feels good for you. If you're lying down, just slowly moving. Be adding movements into the wrists and fingers. And then slowly making our way to a seated position. You can remove the bolster and the blocks. Maybe the blocks come to the top of the mat if you made that yogic ramp. In a nice, comfortable seated position, we're going to reach to the crown of our heads, reaching towards the sky. And as we inhale, the arms come all the way up. And we reach for the moon and the Artemis crew that's up there exploring. And as we slow that down, the right hand can come down to the ground. The left hand comes across the body as we gaze up to that elbow, beginning our 6 movements of the spine. And inhale, both arms back up to the sky. Left arm comes down, right arm across. And inhale, brings both hands up overhead here. Right hand to left knee. Left arm behind like a kickstand. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to gaze over that back shoulder, leading with the chest. Every inhale, lengthen. Every exhale, micro twist. And inhale, brings both hands up overhead. Left hand, right knee, right arm behind like a kickstand. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist and gaze over that back shoulder. Checking in with that breath, into the nice deep inhales and the longer exhales here. On the next inhale, hands can come up overhead. The arms are going to come out wide here. And then we're just going to make slight movements from right to left, almost like a helicopter blade. Just twisting it. And then as we stop, we flip the palms and just bring the palms down towards the ground. Let them fall wherever they may. Tuck the chin in here. Say hello to that lower back. And maybe a sway back and forth here would feel nice. And as we slow that movement down, you can bring the hands over to the right side of the mat and then settling back down, just stretching a little bit into that left armpit. Gaze comes towards the hands. We walk hands through center. Hand comes off to the left hand side. And we just settle back down here just for a brief second. Walking the hands through the center. Press back up. Elongate through the spine so the crown of the head is reaching towards the stars. And then we begin to bring our shoulders up to our ears and then let them fall and up and fall and up and fall. We begin to swim gently towards the front here. And then doing the backstroke. We slow that down and we take our left hand out straight. And then we're going to take our right hand and we're going to cup our hand and press down towards the earth. Getting a stretch into that wrist. I've been working through some tennis elbow, believe it or not, and they said that the elongated arm is better for this. And then we slow it down.
Strap thing you can put, have you tried that? I had that at some point in all. The strap really helped.
Because we're getting younger.
I was the same clicking, like I did the same clicking. I was working on a project.
Slow and shake.
And it was like, I did the same clicking way too much in it.
Right hand comes up. Cupping the hand, pulling down. Yeah, it's amazing. You do the same motion in it.
It was a big spreadsheet project that I did for like 3 days in a row. And I couldn't move my arm.
And then we flip the hand up and pull the fingers back towards the forearm. And then we can release and shake out the hands. We're going to clasp the fingers, bring our forearms together, and just try and maybe figure eights one direction or just circles. And then always remember when you want, you can go in the opposite direction, which is always a challenge for me. And we can slow this down and we'll push the fingers away, the thumbs face down, and then we just lift them up as high as we can go tonight. You don't have to get all the way over the head if you can't. And then the arms can come out wide here. And then we flip the palms and we begin to just do some circles in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. And we slow that down. We bend the elbows here. We just bring the arms in and then out, working in those shoulders, the upper back here, just for a second. Last one. Perfect. Put our hands down on the ground. Get onto our tabletop here. So again, the blanket around the halfway point of the mat, usually a good spot to have it. And then we meet in tabletop, again, just checking that our fingers are spread apart, our wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in line, and our knees and hips are in line. And then whenever you're ready, we can work through some cat-cow. So on the inhale, the belly dips, tailbone kicks, gaze forward. Exhale, pushing, rounding, gaze towards the navel. Working through a few of these at your own pace. Flexation of the spine. And then adding any movements that might feel good. Maybe it's the wag of the tail. We begin to slow that down. We're going to do some barrel rolls here. So just choose a side and then bring the chest almost above the fingertips here in one direction. And then you try to sit back on the heel or the ankle area. Just making circles here. And then we stop. We go in the opposite direction. It's cracking in my hip area. We can slow down and meet back in the tabletop. Putting our weight into that left hand, we bring that right arm all the way up to the sky. And then we bring it down, feeding it through the bottom arm, right temple down to the mat here, just into a little twist. Again, any variation that you want, you can take that top hand and bring it to the small of the back, or you can just leave that top hand in front of the gaze. Going back to that breath, inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you took that top hand, this small of the back, you can now bring it to the mat. As you put the weight into that left hand, you bring that right arm across the body, back up to the sky, just for one last twist here. And then we bring it down to settle in that tabletop. Again, we do it one side, we must do it to the other. So we put the weight into that right hand. We bring that left hand all the way up to the sky. And then we feed it through the bottom hand, temple down. And again, that top hand can remain where it is, or flipping it around the back and focusing on that breath, trying to make that exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. Whenever you're ready and no rush, placing that right hand back down on the mat, putting weight into it, and then lifting it up. That left arm comes all the way back up to the sky. And then we settle it back down into our tabletop just for a second here. Then we take our right leg all the way back behind us, toes facing down towards the mat here. And then we're going to bend the knee. And then we're going to rotate that knee out to the right side. Just lifting it up like we call this the fire hydrants. So knee down, knee up, knee down, and knee up. Should feel interesting. Yeah. And then the next time it comes up, we're just going to circle it back so that that leg is now back out long and straight again. And then we're going to take the opposite finger, the left hand, just up to the top of the mat. And then if you want, you can flip the hand like you're shaking somebody's hand for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time you're going to clench the front hand like a fist. And then you're going to bring elbow and knee together under the chest area. And then you're going to shoot hand and foot back out long. Left hand comes down, right leg all the way back to the left side, toes come down, gaze over that left shoulder. Noticing maybe the heartbeat just elevating slightly from that. Gaze comes to the fingers. Just draw that half circle with our big toe here over to the right side. The foot is facing forward here. And again, we usually come into this position. So whatever thing feels good for you, whether pulsing back and forth or cat-cow, or you can sit back all the way on that left heel. Just getting that nice stretch inside of the thigh and maybe the right back area or lower back. And then we could slow that down. We begin to build ourselves up here. One fist down, and we put our right hand on our right hip, push up with our left. And we're into our gate pose here, just checking to make sure the hip and knee and ankle are kind of in line. You don't want the foot too far forward or back here. We can inhale, both hands come up overhead. And then we're going to grab our left wrist with our right arm and just bring it across the body here. You're going to notice a deeper stretch into that inner thigh, as well as in that left armpit and rib area. Inhale, both hands come up overhead. Right arm lazily comes down. Left arm across this time, gaze up to the ceiling. And you notice that stretch probably a little bit further. Inhale, both hands come up overhead. We can reach for that leg, put it to the middle of the mat here, and then grab those blocks and frame that front foot. And slowly making that forward and backward motion, just lubricating the hips with synovial fluid. And then the next time you go forward, that knee and ankle are in line here. You're going to press up on those blocks so that that chest is nice and straight. And then we're going to have some fun. We're going to tuck the back toes here. And then try to lift that back leg up. Okay. Notice that big stretch in that back leg. That heel is pressing towards the mat. Nice and strong and straight here. Perfect. Knee comes down. You can untuck the toes. The top of the foot comes back down. And then again, we just go forward and backwards here. You come forward again. Everything's in line. We're going to tuck the toes one more time at the back here. And then we lift that back leg up, press the heel away. So we're in that runner's kind of lunge here. You're going to feel more engagement. Gaze slightly forward if you can. Back knee comes down. Untuck the toes. We bring the blocks all the way back to the hip area. Right leg comes out long and straight-ish. Mine always has that bend. And then we wave. And it's funny, I don't do the stretch until I'm here. And then I'm like, wow, still feel it. I know I should do it more often. And then we can gas pedal here. And then the next time the foot comes through center, we can flip the toes back towards the ceiling here. And then we just check in, maybe pressing ourselves up a little more so that chest is nice and straight. The gaze comes towards the horizon. And then we slowly bring our chin down to meet our knee until we feel that stretch. And then we can tuck the chin in towards the chest. Jason Crandell said the nature of yoga is to shine the light of awareness into the darkest corners of the body. One last breath here. As we begin to bring that front foot down, we bend in that knee, the gaze comes up back towards the horizon. We could take those blocks and actually let's place them on the inside of our foot this time. And then we can place our hands on that block. And we've been here many times before, but let's try to tuck those back toes again. Let's lift up that back leg and then put the weight into that left hand. And then we bring that right arm all the way up. So again, you're in more of an engaged twist here. You're like, Scott, I thought this was a relaxing class. Right hand comes down, knee comes down, we untuck the toes. We take that right leg, just the side of the mat. We can dip on the edge of that foot, and then we find ourselves into our familiar kind of dragon pose or lizard pose, whatever you want to call it. And if you wanted to make your way down to your forearms, you've got your blocks here, but you do not have to. Just do whatever feels good in the body. And then if we're down on our blocks, we can slowly build ourselves back up. We can back on that front foot. We can take the blocks just to the top of the mat. And then we can bring that right leg back to the blanket. Reposition our hands here. Maybe a quick cat-cow would feel nice here. And as we come to tabletop, just see if you notice any different in that left hip flexor or thigh area in that right leg. Get a pretty good stretch there. So, and then we're going to take our knees about mat distance apart. We tuck our big toes together, and then we come and bring our hips back towards our heels here. The hands come out slightly forward. As you bring the head towards the mat, we're in our child's pose here. Now remember, you've always got blocks for child pose. If this is really intense, you can always bring your head down to a block. Or some people even take a block in between their legs and sit on it a little more to help prop up the hips. The nature of yoga is to shine the light of awareness into the darkest corners of the body. On the next inhale, gaze comes forward to the hands. We take our right hand off the mat, that left hand just to touch. We settle back down, making sure that left hip isn't popping too far up. Beautiful. And whenever you're ready, the gaze can come towards the hands. We walk the hands through center, left hand off the mat, right hand to follow. Settling our head back down towards the mat. Giving that nice stretch into the intercostal muscles. Gaze comes towards the hands. We walk the hands through center. We come up on our hips here. We untuck our toes and we bring the knees slightly back towards hip distance apart. And then we're going to come down on our forearms here. You're just going to notice that, the glutes are kind of pointing towards the sky, and you can hit a little bit here. Just try to bring your chest a little bit closer to the mat. Maybe your chin reaches down. Call this puppy pose, just getting into that stretch into the upper back. Gaze comes towards the hands. We kind of walk the hands back into tabletop here. Maybe we shake our tail just to reset. As we begin to slow that down, we're going to take that left leg. We're going to engage the core. We're going to kick that left foot behind us so that the toes are still facing down on the ground. We bend the knee, and then we take the knee out to the side. So we're lifting it up, and then we just bring it down, almost touching the blanket, but not quite. And we do this a couple times. Call this the fire hydrant pose now. And then the next time the knee comes out to the top here, we can just kick that foot back out and then straighten the leg all the way to the back here. We're going to reach that right hand up to the top of the mat. We flip the hand. So we're shaking somebody's hand in front of us for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clench the fist, elbow and knee meet just around the chest area. And then we push back out. Right hand comes down. Left leg all the way across to the right side. We gaze over the right shoulder and settle. Taking in that breath. Gaze comes back towards the fingertips. We come on that tiptoe and we bring that left foot all the way to the left side of the mat, toes facing forward here. And again, whatever feels good in your body. Cat, cow, sitting down or rocking back and forth. And then we slow that movement down. We start building ourselves up, fist on the ground, left hand on left hip, pushing ourselves up, checking into the hip, knee, and ankle. Perfect. Inhaling both arms up to the sky, grabbing our right wrist, fling it over to the left side. Notice that you can't go as far by doing it this way, but that's all right. And then we inhale both hands up to the sky. We take that left hand on the long leg, and then we bring that right arm across, maybe a little bit further, gaze up towards the sky. And inhale both hands up overhead. We reach for that left leg and we bring it to the center point of the mat. And we grab the blocks and frame the front foot. And then we slowly moving back and forth here. And we begin to slow that down. And once we bring that knee forward, we want the knee and ankle stacked over each other. We're going to use those blocks to slowly push ourselves up here so that the chest is nice and open. And then we reposition the hands maybe a little bit down further. We tuck the back toes. We lift up that back leg. We press that heel towards the earth. Gonna feel that big stretch. And then back leg comes down. We untuck the toes. Top of the foot comes down. Gonna do that one more time. Tuck the back toes. Lift up that back leg. Press the heel towards the earth. Gaze comes slightly forward. And then back down on that knee, untucking the toes. Taking a breath for a second. Then we can walk those blocks back towards our body here. That left leg comes out long. Toes reaching towards the sky, and we begin to wave our feet at each other. And then gas pedaling. Center and left. Center and right. Next time it comes through center, you can flip the toes back towards the ceiling or the sky. We just check our hands here in the blocks. I have to come to my fingertips here to get that nice straight chest. Gaze towards the horizon. And then we start to hinge forward, bringing that chin down towards our knee until we feel that stretch, and then we tuck the chin in. Checking in with that breath. Nice long exhales. If you're ready, you can drop that front foot down. We bring the blocks on the inside of that left foot here. You can adjust that left foot as well. If it's too close, you can always just move it a micro bit over to that left side. And then again, we position our hands here so that they're firmly on those blocks. We tuck our back toe, we lift that back leg up. We press the heel towards the earth. We put that weight into our right hand, and that left hand comes all the way up to the sky and revolve. Gaze comes back down. That left hand comes down to meet the blocks. We bring the back leg down and untuck the toes. And then we begin to take that left leg to the side of the mat. We tip on the side of that left foot. And then again, gaze towards the horizon, or if you like, we can come down further, whatever feels good here. And if you made your way down to your forearms, you can slowly build yourself back up here. You can tip back on that left foot. The blocks can come to the top of the mat. And then we bring that left leg all the way back to meet the right. We reposition the hands here, and we begin to do a couple cat cows or the shake of the tail from side to side, whatever feels good here. Or maybe that barrel roll would feel nice here in one direction. And then as we slow that down, we're just going to meet back in the tabletop position here. We're going to move our hands about a palm print forward. We're going to tuck our toes here. And then we're going to bring those hips up towards the sky. Gaze comes towards the navel. Maybe a deep bend in the knees here is fine. You begin to walk out those legs into our downward facing dog. And we begin to slow that down. The gaze comes towards our hands here. We walk our feet up to meet our hands. And then you should be deep knee bend here. You're going to bring the crown of the head towards the mat here into a forward fold. And it's okay if the legs are bent here. Again, especially if you've been sitting a lot. Want to protect that lower back. Maybe you grab opposite elbows and sway side to side here, or maybe you just put the hands on the shins, whatever feels good. As we begin to slow down, placing our hands on our shins, we move the hands up just underneath the knees here. And then we push back on the shins and we gaze forward here to a flat back. And that kind of just forces our legs to straighten slightly here. And then we're going to let go, ragdoll again, back down, crown the head back down towards the mat. You might notice this more in the back of the hamstrings. Gaze comes to the top of the mat. We bend in our knees. The arms come out wide as we stand up. Hands up overhead. Hands come down. Woo! How are we feeling? So we could take that blanket off the side of the mat. We're not going to get too intense because that was a lot on the legs tonight. We wanted to really open things up. So just enjoy standing. We're like, When you get into our mountain pose, you're going to put those toes up and then bring them back down. The gaze is going to be at the horizon here. Bringing the hands up overhead. We're going to come and put the weight into our right leg and come up on our left tippy toes. And then we're just going to cross that left foot over the right side here. So again, you're just kind of standing, you got both feet crisscrossed, and then you're going to reach for that left wrist, and you're just going to guide it over the right side. So like we call it the twisted banana. A little bit good for the balance. And then arms come straight up overhead. And we bring it to hands to heart center. And then just slowly sit a little bit back. You don't have to go too far. And then we stand up. And then we sit just a little bit. You might just notice that little stretch a bit into the lower back. And then we stand up. The hands can come to the side. We can untwist the leg and shake it out. Mountain pose here for a second. This time, before we get to the other side, I'm just gonna swing our arms around. I love this one. It's so nice. It does, doesn't it? You say it makes us feel like kids. Yeah. It's just great. I don't do this enough. And then we slow it down. And then we can bring our hands to our hips here. We're going to put the weight into the left leg this time. We're going to come up the right tippy toes. We're just going to cross that right foot over the left. And it doesn't matter if the foot comes flat down or not. Sometimes I'm not that flexible. I have to keep on my tippy toes. That's fine. We can inhale, the arms come up overhead. And then we grab our right wrist with the left hand and just bring it over to the left side. Probably notice that in the IT band of the right leg here to that right hip. And then we bring the arms back up overhead. Hands come to heart center. We can slowly sit a little bit here. You might notice this in the opposite hip, the left hip. Then you can stand up and sit down slightly. And then stand. Uncross the feet. Yeah. Just for you, we're going to do a little bit of balancing. We're going to practice our tree pose. Yes, because we love the tree pose. And the reason why I love this pose, folks, is I spent all weekend gardening and I'm cut from all the bushes and I'm like, it's payback time. No. So we know how to do this. We're going to be in our mountain poses here, nice strong stance. We're going to start just like we did the last time. We're going to put the weight into the right leg. Okay. Now we can come on the tippy toes of that left foot, and then we can sway that left knee out to the side. We bring that left hip on top of the ankle. We just check in that our hips are kind of forward here. And then we can bring the arms up overhead. Beautiful. Now, again, if you wanted to take that further, you can bring it to the calf muscle. Remember to find your dristi, the point that doesn't move. Or you can take your hands and guide that foot all the way up to the inner thigh. All good. Wherever you're at, hands come to heart center. You can get out the same way you came in, and then shake it out. Give yourself a round of applause. I love the balance. Woo.
Put your foot in the soot.
All right, we're back in mountain pose. Nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth side out. That's it to go. Hands can come to heart center as we put the weight into that left leg. We splay that right leg or the right knee out, and then we place the right heel on top of the left ankle, and then we bring our hands up overhead, and that could be good enough. I'm already starting to wobble here. Or we can bring that foot on the inside of the calf muscle, or bringing it all the way up to the inside of the thigh, remembering to find the drishti or the point that's not moving. Hands come to heart center, coming out the same way we came in, shaking the legs, taking it out. Yes, beautiful. All right. Back to mountain pose just for a brief second here. We're going to inhale, arms come up overhead. We're going to come into a chair pose. We're just sitting. Imagine, I always like to say it's like you're at home and your glutes are kind of up on the ledge of your countertop. Yeah, it's just that nice. That's where it should be because you should be able to see your toes still. Perfect. And then we're just going to stand up, hands come to heart center. And then we're going to settle back down one more time to that chair. Like, Scott, what are you doing to my legs tonight? And then stand up. Perfect. We're going to go to the back of our mat here. And we're going to start with our left heel placed in the middle of the mat. And we're just going to place our right foot in front of the left heel. The arms are going to come out wide. And you're just going to find a drishti, a point that's not moving. And you're just going to walk one foot in front of the other up to the top of your mat.
I failed a GUI. Thank you for those.
And then we're going to walk backwards. Trying it out. Just kind of fun. And again, it's just having fun with balance. It's just playing around. Yay. All right. Good time to grab a drink if you want. And then we'll meet our back into our mountain pose here. And y'all know we're coming back down now. So we're like, yes. If you can, place that blanket on the right side. And maybe place a block on that blanket as well. We've got everything set up so when we get down there, it's smooth transitions. All right, so checking in with our mountain pose, we've got the knees slightly bent, engaged in the core here. Arms come out wide, inhaling up overhead. Exhaling, we split the body in half with our hands down to heart center. We fold forward here. The crown of the head comes towards the mat, and then we place the right hand and left hand down. We take our right leg back out long, followed by our left leg, and we're in plank pose here just for a brief second. We can bring the knees down, we can untuck the toes, and then we bring the chest down towards the earth, and then we make that nice pillow for our head. And we settle in. Some people sleep like this. I can't sleep on my stomach on the.
I was thinking of doing Shavasana, and I'm like, no, wait, we're
Now, for people who have a lower back issues like myself, this isn't always the best. So this is why sometimes it's good that you bend those legs and then you tick-tock the hips, because what you're actually doing is you're just relieving the pressure off the lower back here. You could probably feel that. And then the legs come out long and straight again. Now we're going to place our arms. Your arms are going to be flat on the mat. Your fingertips are just going to be probably off the tip of the mat. We're going to bring our elbows in here. And then we're going to engage the core and we're going to engage our glutes. So you're going to feel your thighs almost clench and lift up off the mat a little bit. And then we press up into our hands here and we bring the gaze slightly forward into our Sphinx pose. Now, if you wanted to have fun with this, you could try to gaze over one shoulder, then come through center, and gaze over the other shoulder, come through center. And then we slowly bring it down. Making that pillow or reaching for that block. This also feels good. And then whenever we're ready, we're going to bend that right leg and place that right knee on the blanket that we have conveniently located right next to us. And we're getting into our half frog. So you want that knee and hip to be straight, and then that knee and ankle to be straight. So it's almost like an L shape. And then you flex that bottom foot. You can reach for that block and rest your head on the block if you want. And again, if you wanted to make this a little bit stronger, you can rotate the pelvis towards the mat here. You might notice the blanket push itself away a bit. And then we focus on that breath. Nice deep inhale. Sadhguru said, peace is not the highest goal in life. It is the most fundamental requirement. That was an appropriate quote for tonight. One last round of breath here. And then we could take that right leg out long and just bend the right leg here. And notice any sensations, and then bring the foot down and then just bend it again. You might notice that just slowly working into the upper glute, into the lower back. Sometimes it just feels good to stretch that out a little bit here. And then we can bring that foot down long. And we're just going to reach for that blanket and bring it all the way over to the left side so it's there when we need it. As we settle back down, our right arm is going to come out like a T. The hand is going to face towards the ground. We're going to take that left arm and just kind of place that hand right next to our gaze or our chin, and our left elbow is going to be bent. We're going to push it up and roll over onto our right leg. So kind of in a log roll here. And that's perfect. If you have shoulder sensitivity, that is good enough. If you'd like, you could take that top leg and bend it and then place the top of the foot down on the ground, sorry, bottom of the foot onto the ground. And even take that top hand and bring it to the small of the back, whatever feels good for you here. Twisting the back a little bit here, getting into the shoulder. Last breath. So if you took that top hand to the small of the back, you can now place it down on the mat in front of the gaze. That top leg can come up strong and straight on top of that bottom leg. And then we roll down onto our bellies. Got that nice pillow for our forehead. We can bend our knees here. This time, try to circle them in one direction. Good. And then the opposite. Slow that down. The legs come out long. We bring the forearms down to the mats. Fingertips almost at the top of the mat here. Got the elbows pressed in towards the chest area. We engage the core. We engage our glutes. Those thighs fire up. We're pushing down into the tops of our feet as we push up. We're into our Sphinx pose here. Try to lift up a little bit higher. Maybe the belly button comes close to lifting off the mat. Maybe it doesn't. And then we come back down. Taking a breath. Bending that right knee and placing it on the conveniently located blanket into our half frog. Again, the L shape and then the flex in that bottom foot. Again, if you have that block in the front here, you can always use that to rest your head on. Peace is not the highest goal in life. It is the most fundamental requirement. One last breath here. And when you're ready, you can bring that left leg back long on the mat. We bend both legs here, and whatever feels good, you can either tick-tock or circle, whatever one you prefer. And then we drop the legs back down long. We take that left hand, place it down on the ground like a T, palm facing down on the ground. We take our right hand and we just roll onto that left leg so the left temple's down on the ground. And then again, if you like, you could take that top leg, you can bend it and place the foot down behind the long knee here. And then maybe that top hand comes to the small of the back. One last breath. If you took that hand behind the back, we could place it back in front of the gaze. We take that top leg, place it on top of the bottom leg, and we roll back down onto our bellies here. Just for a brief second, maybe you tick-tock the hips again or draw circles. And then we press down into our hand. We make our way up to the tabletop. But this time we're going to come down on one side. We're going to swing the legs across. We're going to bring the feet actually towards each other here into a butterfly. So we've got our bottom feet touching here. We lift through the crown of the head. We take our hands, we just massage that inside of their arch here. Now, if you're like me, that lower back is like, ooh, it's tensing. So you make sure your crown of the head is lifting towards, and then you're going to cup the top of the feet with the hands, and then just slightly hinge forward, and then bring the gaze in towards the chest. Now you can also slightly bounce the knees up and down like our butterfly wings, just slowly if that feels good. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. And then we slow that down. The gaze slowly comes back towards the horizon. We take our hands and we close the knees in like a book. We place the knees at the top of the mat. We bring our hands to the sides and we just tuck our hips slowly from side to side. Next time the feet come through, or so the knees come through center, we're going to reach for a block. We're going to place it next to us. And then, no torture, we're just going to go down to our backs tonight. No, we're down on our backs. We're just like, oh, this is perfect. We needed this.
It was so trendy. I don't even know how to go that fast.
All right, this time we're going to keep the left leg long. We're going to bend the right knee in towards our chest. We're going to grab the right knee with our hands and just slightly pull it towards us. Feel nice. And then you can let go, let the long leg come long, and then we just do the opposite. So the left knee bends in towards the chest. We grab the shin or the knee and just slowly bring it in towards the chest or the armpit area. And then we bring it back out long. We bend both legs here, so feet are flat on the mat, knees pointing towards the sky, about hip distance apart, and we bring the heels back towards, so we can almost touch them with our middle fingers here. We settle the hands back down on the mat, so the hands are flat down on the mat, the forearms are on the mat. You rest the head here, the neck. Now, you're gonna actually try to take the curvature out of your back. So you're gonna rotate the hips, slightly pressing down to the mat, and that's gonna engage the core. And then whenever you're ready, you can lift those hips up towards the sky here. Imagine there's a block in between your legs and you're squeezing your legs together into our bridge pose. And then we slowly come down one vertebrae at a time. And then we reach for that block. We go through the same process here. Hands are flat on the mat, curvature out of the back, lifting the hips up. But this time we grab that block, we place it into the small of the back. Again, you might have to adjust it. Should feel comfortable. You can drop the hands back down. We're in a supported bridge here. You can bend one knee, followed by the next. And then if you'd like, you can kick those heels all the way up to the ceiling here, into our legs up the wall. Again, playing around like a child. I love this pose. The legs kick out wide, you can crisscross, you can cycle, you can roll the ankles, whatever feels good. Or you could just keep those feet pointing towards the sky. All that blood is flowing now through the extremities, calming us, sending more oxygen around. And then whenever you're done playing, you can bend the knees and place one foot down flat, followed by the next. Hands come down to the mat as we lift the hips up and take the block out. We're going to tick-tock the hips from right to left here. Whenever they get over to the right side, you're going to let them fall as far as they can down towards the mat. The arms are going to come out like a T here. And you're just going to gaze over that left fingertip. Just a final twist here. Gaze comes up towards the ceiling, knees come towards the ceiling. Knees come all the way down to the left side, let them drop as far as they can. Then we bring the gaze over the right fingertips. Gaze to the sky, knees to the sky. Whatever final movement you like here, maybe it's grabbing both knees, bringing them into the chest and rocking back and forth, or a happy baby where you grab the outside of your feet with your hands or your peace fingers around your big toes, whatever feels good. And whenever you're ready, you can make your way to your final Shavasana, whatever that looks like for you. Any props that you like. Take one deep breath in through the nose here. Open your mouth, sigh it out, let it go, let control of the breath go. If thoughts arise, let them pass like a ship in the sea in the night. Slowly, mindfully, deepening the breath, adding additional movements. Nice and slow. Maybe it's the toes and the ankles, the wrists and the fingers. Neck from side to side. The arms reaching overhead like a deep morning stretch. And whenever you're ready, you can make your way through the fetal pose where it all began. And as you settle into that pose, saying something kind to yourself tonight, smiling at yourself, giving yourself grace. Mother Teresa said, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And whenever you're ready, using your top arm as a lever, we can slowly make our way to a seated position. Eyes can stay closed or a soft gaze at the tip of the nose. Making sure the crown of the head is pointing towards the sky here. Bring our arms out to the side as we inhale, hands come up overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center, slight bow of the head here.